Hi everybody, this is Miss Huballs. Today's video is on the Address to Congress on Women's Suffrage by Carrie Chapman Catt. You can find the text of this speech on page 23 of your guidebook workbook. So before we start reading the speech, we need to talk about the rhetorical diamond. Whenever we're looking at a piece of nonfiction like a speech, we want to consider the speaker, the occasion, the audience, and the purpose. You ask yourself, who is the speaker? What are this person's qualifications? Then, what is the occasion and what's appropriate to the occasion? And what might the speaker be doing to tailor his or her speech to the appropriate occasion? Then, who is the audience? Men, women, this person's peers? Is it the reader? Or are we reading something that was to be delivered to a different audience? And then, of course, the purpose. In this particular speech, I want you to think about the rhetorical diamond as you read paragraphs 1 through 5. So pause me now while you read 1 through 5 and annotate as you read by circling words you don't know and underlining things that strike you as important. Consider the audience, the occasion, the purpose, and the speaker. All right, I'm going to assume that you have read paragraphs 1 through 5. So the speaker here is clearly Carrie Chapman Catt, and she is an advocate for women's right to vote. The occasion is a congressional hearing or some other appearance before Congress. That means that her audience is all men who are in the U.S. House of Representatives. And clearly her purpose is to explain why suffrage is inevitable for women. So let's take a look at her overall thesis, women's suffrage is inevitable. She then says 3 distinct causes make it inevitable. So her first claim is that U.S. history makes women's suffrage inevitable. And I want you to think about those 5 paragraphs that you read in terms of logos. Logos is the evidence that she uses to make her claim. So in paragraphs 2 to 4, she uses examples to argue that throughout U.S. history, the vote has been the foundation of our democracy. She gives you quotes from presidents and the American Revolution, all of which emphasize the supremacy of the right to vote. Highlight each quote from each source and circle the words inside that quotation which you think refer to voting. Pause me now while you do that. Hopefully, when you look back at quoted sections, you circled representation out of the first quote, out of the second one, consent, out of Abraham Lincoln's by the people, and out of Woodrow Wilson's voice. Now in paragraph 5, Catt argues the basic unfairness of denying women the right to vote. She uses examples of women who are contributors to American society in every way, but the vote. So underline the 3 groups of women Catt emphasizes here. First, tax-paying women, teachers, and then other prominent women who are smart enough to hold jobs like being a judge, a doctor, or a university president, but who are not considered smart enough to vote. Pause me now while you circle those. All right, in Catt's first claim, we want to look at U.S. history and how it makes women's suffrage inevitable. And we want to talk about ethos. What steps does she take to make herself credible? First, think a little bit about why Congress might have thought women shouldn't vote. Maybe they weren't knowledgeable enough or educated enough. They were weak. They were too emotional, too pure, and not interested. Remember, Catt would want to counteract men's concerns, so she wants to come across as calm, knowledgeable, and competent. What does she do to achieve that? Well, check out her intro. It's direct and forceful. Make a note of that. Circle where she says, women's suffrage is inevitable. 3 distinct causes make it so. Her command of history also adds to her thesis and to her credibility. She knows all about the Revolution, about President Lincoln, about President Wilson. She shows her knowledge and her education in that way. Her use of many examples shows her interest and lack of emotional manipulation. She's trying to prove this logically. Take a minute and put a star by those things and put ethos. Finally, we're going to look at how she uses pathos in this claim. What does she include to use emotion to move her audience? She doesn't rely on a lot of emotion, but She does in paragraph 2 appeal to our sense of patriotism, that feeling of pride in our country. She uses these two phrases, spiritual source and historic pride. Mark those two sections as pathos now. Pause me if you need to do so. In paragraph 5, she appeals to the emotion of shame a bit with the three examples of women who contribute to the country in real and public ways, but who are denied the right to vote. She'd probably like her audience to feel shame at mistreating these people who contribute to the greatness of America. So out to the side of that paragraph, put pathos, shame. All right, your challenge and your ticket out the door is to read claim number 2 in paragraph 6 and claim number 3 in paragraph 7 through 11. Consider the logos in claim 2, paragraph 6. Write 2 sentences in your own words which sum up the evidence Catt uses in claim 2, paragraph 6. Think cause and effect. Next, consider the pathos in claim 3, paragraph 7 to 11. Write 2 sentences in your own words which explain how she appeals to the emotion of guilt. Turn in your answers on loose leaf with a nice MLA heading at the top. Place the title, Catt Rhetoric, Ticket Out the Door at the top of the page. Good luck!